the triad of cybersecurity, or CIA. Anybody here wants to take a shot at what CIA stands for?
Central Intelligence Agency.
Central Intelligence Agency. That's a great answer, but it's a wrong answer. CIA in cybersecurity. This gentleman right here. No. In the brown hoodie right there. Okay, so CIA stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. How boring, right? Not really, actually. So when we hear of cyber attacks, when we hear of cyber breaches out there, most of the time we're talking about attacks on confidentiality. Somebody's credit card information was compromised. That's an attack on confidentiality. Somebody's medical records were compromised. It's an attack on confidentiality. And for all of you teens over here, it doesn't matter because it's your parents' information that's going out. It's not you guys. So that's okay. But it is important to recognize that you play a hand in that. And we'll talk about how teens are being used as a threat vector to get to parent information. And I'll walk you through that entire process over here as well. The other dimension is availability, and this is really interesting, really important. This cyber attack really prevents access to information, access to data. In many cases, we talk about things like ransomware. Is anybody familiar with what ransomware is here? One person, a few of you, okay, good. So you've heard of it, right? Basically, in ransomware, what happens is that the bad guys, we call them bad actors, they will enter into an organization stealthily, break into the systems, encrypt the data, and then demand some ransom, maybe 20 bitcoins, to be able to unlock the data. And the organization may pay up the 20 bitcoins or whatever the ransom is, and in which case the bad actors, the hackers, will give them the keys to unlock the data, or they may not. But that's an attack on the availability of data. The third attack is integrity. This one's really, really interesting. This is where the integrity of data is compromised. Now think about some of you. If you've been to a hospital, you have medical records. And if your medical records are leaked out, that's an attack on the confidentiality of your medical records. But imagine that somebody changes your blood type in your medical records, and you have to have a blood transfusion. You could die from that, right? That's an attack on the integrity of information, right? So these are typically the three dimensions of cybersecurity that we tend to talk about. And what we typically see today is that the bulk of the attacks, what we see mostly out there today, are attacks on confidentiality of data. We don't hear so much about integrity or availability attacks, but that is about to change. And it is about to change because we are moving from a world where attacks are attacks on data to a world where attacks are attacks on systems. We are moving towards a world where everything is coming online, everything is connected, down to the point of things getting a little bit ludicrous. So I went online and found a few ludicrous connected devices that I thought were perhaps a little bit amusing, a little bit fun, but we'll talk about why this is really important as well. The first one I found was the connected diaper. Anybody have siblings in diapers today? Anybody? One of you, okay. For folks who remember when they had siblings in diapers, you may recall your parents picking up the little kid and smelling the diapers to see if the baby's peed or poo-pooed in the diaper, if they need a change. Well, the connected diaper does away with that. It'll tell you when the diaper is ready for a change, okay? How about the happy fork? It's a connected fork, and it will tell you how fast you're eating. Are you eating quickly enough? Are you eating with the right time intervals? Do we really need this? I don't think so, but it was there, so I put it up here. The next one I found was the connected umbrella. If it's raining and you forgot your umbrella someplace, you can locate it using a cell phone, which means you walk in the rain, get wet, to go find your umbrella. But that's a connected umbrella. The point of all of this is, while this is a little bit amusing, it has very serious undertones. The minute you put a computer, a network interface on one of these devices, you have changed these devices to becoming not an umbrella or a diaper. You made it into a computer. So, as an example, my cell phone here is not a cell phone. This is an extremely sophisticated computer that makes phone calls, right? It can also call my taxi for me. I can watch movies on it. It's a TV. It's a concierge. I can make hotel reservations from it and do a variety of other things. The reason why this is possible is because it has a processor. It has a CPU. And I can always upgrade the functionality of this computer to do different things. Now think about what happens in this world of connected devices that has a CPU too. and you can upgrade the functionality of those devices to do bad things. That kind of an upgrade is called malware. That's what malware is. It's a software upgrade that does bad things, right? And so this starts becoming really, really scary, because now we start moving from a world where you have attacks on information and data, attacks on IT information technology, to attacks on flesh, blood, and steel. What do I mean by that? Think about your connected car, your autonomous driving vehicle. Many of you may have Teslas. I use Tesla as an example because it's a fantastic car. It's a really great car. But cars today are no longer an engine, transmission, four wheels, and brakes. Cars are a sophisticated system of computers that control your transmission, your brakes, and your wheels. And so we are moving to a world where everything is becoming connected. And in that world, we are going to move from attacks on confidentiality to attacks on integrity and availability. As an example, we talked about ransomware, where somebody locks up all your data and asks you for 20 bitcoins to unlock the data. Now think about ransomware in the world of connected devices. Think about you driving your autonomous vehicle. It could be a Tesla, could be another car in the future, and you're driving 65 miles an hour on the freeway. Who has a license here? Few of you guys. Imagine you're driving, at 65 miles an hour on the freeway, and you get a call and say, your brakes are under my control. Okay? That's a very different risk rhetoric from saying your data has been locked and give me 20 bitcoins to unlock this. And by the way, this can happen. 2 years ago, at a conference called DEF CON, some hackers demonstrated how they can actually get access to some of these autonomous driving vehicles and lock up different parts of those vehicles as well. And so what we are seeing today is a shift in attacks from attacks on data and the confidentiality of data to attacks on the integrity and availability of systems. And that's an attack on flesh, blood, and steel. So it requires a completely different way of thinking. In the world of data, if things are not quite working well, we learn to wait for patches. So for example, all of you here are working with your laptops, and if there's a vulnerability on your laptop, what we see is that we'll wait for a patch to be available. And Microsoft, for example, does this with Patch Tuesday. Every second or third Tuesday of the month, they'll release a bunch of patches, and you'll go patch your systems. And in the meanwhile, you may say, okay, I will disable that functionality, and I'll wait for the patch to come out, and I'll secure my system, and I'm good. That doesn't work quite well in the world of connected devices. Again, let's take the example of your smart vehicle, and you're driving on a freeway. You're not going to say, I'm going to wait for 3 weeks to go drive this vehicle. I need to get to work back and forth, right? So patching doesn't work very well in that kind of an example. Think about your municipal water supply system. We turn on the tap, we get water to drink, life is good. Somebody gets control of the filtration systems, and there's a vulnerability there. The municipal system is not going to turn off your water supply for 3 weeks. We can't live with that, right? So in the world of IT, we learn to live with breaches, we learn to live with vulnerabilities. In the world of IoT, we learn to die with them, right? And that's unfortunate. The third challenge we have is awareness. In most cases, when it comes to the world of IT, companies have departments that are dealing with InfoSec security. But when you think of the world of IoT, that's not the case. Imagine any one of you over here wants to go get a DVR for their home, or wants to get an IP camera for their home. When you shop for these systems, you're shopping for the functionality. How many channels can I record? How big is the space? Is it 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte? How much can I store? How many programs can I record simultaneously? You are not buying that system for the security of the system. In other words, you are not willing to pay for the security of the system. Correspondingly, the people who make those systems are not willing to invest in the security of the systems because they cost more. So all things being equal, if one system costs X amount of dollars and another equivalent system with the same features costs a little bit more, you will buy the cheaper one because it has the functionality you're looking for, not because you want the security of it. And this is causing a problem. Let me give an example. A couple of years ago, there was a baby who had a baby monitor in the room. And this is a little bit scary. The baby came and complained to the parents, I hear voices at night. Okay? And the parents said, you're just imagining things, you're dreaming, we'll put on some good lullabies, you can go to sleep. A couple of days later, the baby came back and said, I'm hearing voices at night. And the parents said, don't worry about it, it's all good, we'll sing some songs to you, read some books, life is good. A few days later, the mom walked by the baby's room, and the mother heard voices coming from the baby's room. She's very spooked about it, opens the door, walks into the baby room. Somebody has hacked into the baby monitor and is talking to the baby at night. Okay, and you can go online. I'm not making this up. This happens all the time. There are so many such incidents where baby monitors have been hacked. Another incident, today's baby monitors are not just audio. You can actually have a camera that you can watch the baby. You can be sitting and watching a movie in your living room and the baby's sleeping upstairs, and you can turn on the camera and see if the baby's sleeping. This mother was actually upstairs in the room with the baby, and she noticed the hacker will come in and says, okay, let me do some social engineering. Let me see who works in this company. So let's say, as an example, I want to go hack a company called Gauss Surgical. Okay, and I only use Gauss Surgical because I'll tell you why. I'll come back in a minute. I don't know the company at all. It's just an example. But I go do some social engineering and I find from Facebook that, oh, by the way, they have a good internship program, and there is a gentleman called Jamshed Mistry who's doing an internship at Gauss Surgical. Is Jamshed here? Jamshed. Somewhere. He's right there. So Jamshed here, by the way, really impressive gentleman. He's doing an internship at Gauss Surgical. I say, okay, great. College student, high school student, doing an internship. Maybe I can use him to hack into Gauss Surgical. What else does Jamshed like to do? I go do some more research, and I find out Jamshed, in case you don't know, is a 4th degree black belt in Taekwondo. This is a fact. Jamshed is a 4th degree Taekwondo expert. Not only is he an expert, he's actually an instructor. He teaches Taekwondo, and he's also a qualified referee at Taekwondo tournaments. So here I am, Mr. Hacker, sitting and thinking, can I actually use Jamshed, who's an intern at Gauss Surgical, to break in? What I do is I take a look and see all the upcoming Taekwondo tournaments. Turns out in 2020 March, there is a US Open Taekwondo tournament. And they're inviting people to participate and inviting people to judge it and referee it. Jamshed is a qualified referee. So I, Mr. Hacker, create what is called a phishing email. Okay? I make it look completely official. I create a new email address. Doesn't matter from Yahoo, from Gmail, from whichever email address you want to choose. And I give it the name US Taekwondo Association. You can give any name. You can go create an email address today and give it a name of Jamshed Mistry. You can do that today. So I go create this email. I create a very official looking email to resemble the US Taekwondo Open Association. I create a web page, a landing page that talks about registering for this particular tournament. And I send the email to Jamshed. Jamshed gets excited because he's been invited to referee the US Open. This is fantastic. This is huge, right? It's a big accolade for him. And he, in his excitement, goes to the website and creates his profile. As part of that, he has to create his name, username, password, etc. And he has entered his username and password on that website. Now the bad guy, me, this is not the official website. I created this website. I tricked Jamshed into visiting that website. I have Jamshed's username and password. That's a start. But let's say Jamshed is actually smarter than that, which he really is. Right? He goes to the website and says, you know what, something is fishy here. I'm not going to enter my information on this website. He closes his browser and navigates away because he's a smart guy. I dodged that bullet, right? Not really. Because what happens is, in visiting that website, just by visiting the website, I don't have to click on a link. In many cases, it's enough to download a piece of malware on Jamshed's laptop. It's called a drive-by download. When you just drive by a malicious website, you potentially can get breached just by that effort itself. So now, I have a small piece of software on Jamshed's laptop, and that's my 0 day, right? So the first thing was social engineering. Now I got the 0 day, I got it into Jamshed's laptop. That piece of malware isn't going to do anything bad. It's not going to wipe out data or do anything crazy. Its only purpose in life is to be able to establish a channel of communication to some remote server somewhere in the world. Could be China, could be Russia, could be Poland, could be UK, could be the US, doesn't matter. It's called command and control, or C2 activity. So it finds a backdoor through the organization. Anytime Jamshed is connected, he goes to Gauss Surgical to work over there. He connects into the environment over there, and this piece of software is going to probe that entire infrastructure to find a backdoor path of communication. Once it does that, it then waits for further commands from that central server. And as part of that, maybe another piece of software gets downloaded to Jamshed's laptop. That new piece of software will then probe Gauss Surgical's internal infrastructure and try to spread from system to system. That is called lateral movement. Right? So that's the next phase of the attack cycle. And this happens not over seconds, not over minutes, not over hours. This happens over days, over weeks, over months. It is called low and slow. That malware propagates very low under the radar and very slow to avoid any form of detection. Right? So this happens over a period of weeks. It spreads from system to system to system. In that process, it creates more backdoors of communication to other centralized servers out there as well. And once it has spread across the entire organization, then begins the process of data gathering. And I start gathering all the sensitive data, and then eventually start uploading it because I have all these backdoors of communication, and that's the stage of data exfiltration. And once all the data has been exfiltrated, then this company that has access to the data now will call up and say, hey, you know, I got all your confidential information, and I can hold you to ransom, or I'll go copy your products and I'll release them before you, in which case you spend billions and billions on your research, and you lost out to this other competing company. And this happens in real life. So now, once this company, in this example, and I'm just using this as an example, Gauss Surgical, finds out that they've been breached, they start the process of cleanup. And because so many systems have been breached, they may fix some of those systems. They may catch the malware on some of those systems, but they may miss a few of them. Right? And so the ones that they've actually missed become available for future attacks. Right? And they stay compromised. Nobody knows about them. They are available for future hacks. And guess what? In the future, it is not the same company that's going to hack them. These systems become available for rent to other hackers. Right? And I'm not making this up. Malware as a service is a big industry. You can rent today 1,000 compromised computers in Russia. They're available for you to mount attacks. You can rent 1,000 compromised computers in the US. In Russia, it's $200. In the US, it's $180. I don't know why Russia is more expensive than the US. It should be the opposite. But this is the state of the industry today. All these systems are actually available for future attacks, so that you can actually rent these systems and carry out your activities out there as well. So this is pretty crazy that's going on out there. And just to give you an idea of how simple this looks like, I have another short video. This is happening live at a conference, okay? Watch this video. It is eye-opening.
So I invited a few of the world's best hackers to try to hack me and show me where my vulnerabilities are. And now I'm going to meet them in Las Vegas for DEF CON, the biggest hacker convention of the year. They're going to hack me using social engineering, which is essentially hacking without any code. They just use a phone and an internet connection.
Do you want to do a sample phishing call?
What's phishing?
Phishing is voice solicitation, and basically what you do is you use the phone to extract information or data points that can be used in a later attack.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Who are you going to call?
Maybe I'll call your cell phone provider and
Okay.
see if I can get them to give me your email address.
I bet they're good. I bet they have my back. But yeah, go for it.
I'm going to spoof from your number, so it's going to look like it's calling from you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me okay? My baby, I'm sorry. my husband's like, we're about to apply for a loan and we just had a baby and he's like, get this done by today. So I'm so sorry. I can't call you back. I'm trying to log into our account for uses information and I can't remember what email address we used to log the account. The baby's crying and can you help me? Awesome.
In just 30 seconds,
At gmail.com?
Jessica gets access to my personal email address.
Now, if I needed to add our older daughter on our account so she could call in and make changes, how would I need to go about doing that? You would have to send me a secure PIN through a text message? Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't think I'll be able to receive a text message if I'm on the phone. Shh. Oh, I'm not on there either. So I thought when we got married, he added me to the account.
Jess uses my girlfriend's name and a fake social security number
5127.
to set up her own personal access to my account.
Wait, I'm sorry. So there's no password on my account right now? Can I set that up?
She even gets the support person to change my password.
Thank you so much for your help today.
So she just basically blocked me out of my own account.
I'll get her fed after this. All right, thank you.
Holy shit. So they just gave you access to my entire cell phone account.
You're gonna have to go on and change your password now because it's Jess, my name.
And all it took was a crying baby and a phone call.
Yes.
Isn't that pretty interesting? So, what I was getting at, remember I mentioned early, the people who are getting hacked tend to be your parents, and so it's not so much of a concern. But what is also happening is that the bad actors are using students now to get access to the parents' systems. So it's important to be aware that the easiest vector to go hack any system is the human vector. The human element is the easiest one to compromise. And so we have to be vigilant. We have to understand what's going on. I hope you've got some perspective on how some of the bad actors carry out their activities through some of this presentation and some of these videos. And it is also important to recognize that by the time you graduate from college, when you're out there, we will live in a world that is more connected than ever. Everything is going to be connected. Everything is going to be a computer. And so our threats are now going to change from attacks on data to actually attacks on systems, on attacks on flesh, blood, and steel. It's going to be a far more riskier environment to be in. And I think it's important for us to gear up for that. This is why there is such a big shortage of bad actors, of good, what they call ethical hackers out there, right? People who can actually use hacking techniques to catch the bad actors out there. 2 million jobs are going to be available by 2021. It's there for the taking. I would encourage many of you to look into cybersecurity, make yourselves proficient with this field. And just a couple of words of caution. The first form of attack typically tends to be a phishing email, which is an email that is targeted at somebody's interest, forcing them to click and visit a particular website, give up their credentials, or just browse by that website. When you receive an email that appeals to you, it appeals to your emotion, pause for a moment before clicking on a link. Take a look who it is from, not just the name, because the name can be easily spoofed. Take a look at the actual email address. Does it actually look like it's come from that particular entity that you're expecting it to come? Be a little bit cautious before you click on any link over an email. This is the problem that's growing because we as a generation, not we actually, you guys as a generation have grown up learning to click. If you have smaller siblings and you're traveling in the car and your baby brother or baby sister is crying, typically what do the parents do? Give him the tablet. And on the tablet, what would they do? They will click on a blue link, right? So we are training an entire generation to simply click on links, and this is going to become a significant problem for us down the road. And so I would strongly urge all of you to be wary, be cautious, be smart about how you approach this. More importantly, teach your parents. Okay, there are many parents over here who really are not aware of what's going on. And as you build up your skills, as you build up your knowledge base, educate your parents. Take a few minutes to walk them through these, show them some of the videos I've shared with you over here today, just so that they also become aware of what's going on out there as well. So with that, I will end this presentation. And if you have any questions, I'll open it up to any questions that you may have for a couple of minutes. Thank you.